where we are sharing ancient wisdom and ancient tools to help all of us in this journey. And I would love to present two of our speakers today. It will be me and Elaine. And I'm specializing in spiritual retreats, personal growth and abundance, and relationship workshops. These are three of my specialties. I have over 2 decades of experience in this unique approach of combining ancient wisdom. I've traveled for these 2 decades in a lot of spiritual places. I've trained with shamans in Peru. I've done all of my retreats in a lot of sacred spaces in South America, Central America, and North America. I've published around 7 books, and I am working right now on my next book, except for my work is published in Russia. So this is my primary language, as you probably figured at this point. I am working on translating my books into English, and so we are just majority of these decades I've been working with Russian speakers, and right now I am joining the English speakers. And I am Las Vegas based, same as Elaine. So now, Elaine, would you like to do an introduction?
Sure. My name is Elaine. My spiritual name is Sangeeta Kurti, which is not there, but when you go through the Kundalini training, you get a spiritual name. And so I have extensive Kundalini yoga background. But before that, have always been immersed in physical movement and different yoga modalities to change the energy within the body so that your mind can be free to do what it is destined to do. So we're all born with this infinite potential. And we're also born with a set of challenges that we either work through it or we stay where we are. So I help people who are self-illumined, who are, have a desire to be, better. I love to help them, go through those blockages. So I have dance background, yoga background, anything physical to just remove that sticky stuff. We're here having this 3-dimensional experience on planet Earth in these human bodies, but our souls are these travelers. So here we are in this incarnation working. This is our tool. The body is the tool through which we achieve enlightenment. So different techniques, different modalities to liberate ourselves from just being in this dense, this dense body.
So Elaine, just a quick question. Do you said Kundalini?
I do, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. I did my first session a couple of days ago, so it's
amazing. So I had done I call it regular yoga. I had done that for like over 20 years and I loved it. It was, my passion, my joy to just move the body. But then the first day that I went into Kundalini, I was like, that's it. For the rest of my life, this is what I'm going to do. So I've done all the trainings, the 500 hours, but it's a lifelong journey. So I'm excited for you that you just did that.
Elaine, would you like to start with your first breathing exercise? Elaine will prepare us for today's work that we are here to do.
Sure. So as Melissa probably experienced in her class, we tune in. Every time we sit with Kundalini, we have to tune in because we are accessing this wisdom through the ages. So it's in honor and respect to it, but it's in respect to ourselves, because what the mantra that we tune in with, it acknowledges that we have all the tools to increase our capacity for healing, self-healing, growth, abundance. Everything that we need is inside of us. We don't have to go find a guru in the mountains. We don't have to find a priest or a rabbi or anyone to guide us, because we have what we need. And that's what the mantra is. So Om Namo Gurudev Namo. We'll just bring our hands to heart center. Go ahead, close the eyes, find a comfortable spot. So if you're in a chair, we're just gonna sit nice and tall in the chair, feet on the earth, anchored in the ground. And go ahead and feel your tailbone connected to the chair or to the earth, wherever you're finding your comfortable seat. Take a big breath in and exhale, completely let it go. And we'll take another breath in as you breathe. Lengthen the spine, grow taller through the crown of the head. And exhale all the way out, completely feeling yourself grounded, rooted into the earth. Soles of the feet, tailbone, everything connected to the earth. And we'll take one more breath just like that. Inhale, grow taller, and exhale all the way out. And this time we're going to inhale. We'll chant the mantra 3 times. Deeply inhale, suspend the breath, hold it in. Exhale completely all the way out. And slowly release the palms. And just bring them to your lap. Bring your hands into Gyan Mudra, index fingers and thumbs. And just rest the palms up on your lap. And take a big breath in here. And exhale, let it go. And just start feeling the Kundalini energy awakening at the base of the spine, moving its way up through the chakras, all the way up to the crown of the head, exiting through the 10th gate into the auric field surrounding you. Now the spine is the superhighway of consciousness. So the clearer, the taller, the more aligned the spine, the more radiant your posture, the more you can project your destiny. So this is what we're doing with every breath. We're clarifying, taking another breath in, growing taller through the spine, making space for our consciousness to rise, and exhale all the way out. And as we continue our practice, and as you continue even listening through this workshop today, with every breath in, just notice that your consciousness is rising with the breath, allowing more wisdom to enter into your being, and just chiseling away all the stuff within your body that is just holding you down, weighting you down, just being light and airy with the breath. And we'll take one more big breath in here together. Exhale, let it go. And go ahead and blink your eyes open.
Could you
Coming
do
back into
the music as well?
Oh,
Could
you want some?
just a little more to tune in with some beautiful music that you have?
Sure. Here we are. Hopefully we can hear it again. Okay. So we're going to take our thumb, block off the right nostril, and we're just going to breathe in through the left nostril. Keep the eyes closed and just noticing the breath through one nostril. Inhaling through the left side, exhaling through the left side. And just consciously breathing here. So this breath here through the left nostril, this is the yin side of the body and the calming breath. So what you're doing when you are breathing in through the left side, you're calming your nervous system and calming yourself, keeping yourself into a more relaxed state. So if you're ever feeling any anxiety in life or any high pressure, if you breathe through the left nostril alone, then you are able to bring yourself to a neutral level. The Creator gave us these nostrils, these channels for different purposes. So it's really this incredible technology that allows us to regulate ourselves where we need it, so that we could keep ourselves in equilibrium. Just take a few more rounds of breath here on your own. Wherever you are in your breath cycle, take a big inhale and suspend the breath. Hold the breath in all the way to the top. Keep holding the breath. Now release the thumb and exhale through both nostrils all the way out. And now take a big breath in through both nostrils and exhale completely all the way to the bottom of the breath. Now we're going to balance this out, get the right side. So you're going to take your left thumb, left nostril. Keep the eyes closed and just begin to breathe through the right side. Just long, deep breathing here through the right nostril. So as you might have guessed, if the left side is the yin side, then the right side is yang, so energy. So if you ever wake up and you're really sluggish in the morning, you can do just breathing on the right side, and this will give you vitality. This will give you a jolt of energy. It'll give you focus and stamina to meet the day. Also really good if you're feeling low. We all go through ebbs and tides in our lives, happiness, low tides, sadness. So if you're ever feeling that low kind of vibration, breathing through the right side will help give you that boost. Yes, I can do it. Yes, I've got the ability to do it. A few more rounds of breath here on your own. Take a big breath in, suspend the breath, hold it in. Now release the thumb, bring them both to Gyan Mudra on your lap. Exhale through both nostrils. Take another big breath in through both nostrils now. And just notice how your breath pattern has changed. And exhaling through both nostrils. Just continue a few rounds of breath here. Just noticing the breath, noticing how you came in this morning into the Zoom and how you're breathing now. Take a big breath and suspend it in. Hold the breath. Exhale all the way out. We're going to do one more breath work exercise before we get started with Yelena here. And this is the breath of fire. So the breath of fire, this clears, it clears any toxins in the body, but it also prepares us to be in full alignment, really conscious. It's all the way from the belly, bringing the energy all the way up to the crown of the head. So your navel is going to move in and out, your diaphragm, and you're going to breathe in and out through the nose. Keep your hands in Gyan Mudra for this one here, just on your knees. And you're going to breathe in and out, pulsing the navel. So, and your music should really be your breath. So let's go ahead. We'll do 1 minute of breath of fire here, stimulating the flow of breath and energy through the body. Here we go. Clock is on. 1 minute. Keep going. 72,000 meridians meet at the navel center. This is where your umbilical cord gave you life. And this is where any blockages that we really have can really be broken up so that we can achieve the power that we need to stand strong in who we are. 20 seconds left. You've got this. Pulse the navel. Keep breathing in and out through the nose. Keep going. Big breath in. Spend the breath. Hold it in. Hold the breath. Hold strong. Exhale. Slowly release the breath. And just take a few rounds of breath on your own, coming back to your natural breathing. Visualize your spine nice and tall, all vertebrae in alignment with the breath. And then when you're ready, slowly blink your eyes open, coming back into the space. And here we are, just these couple tools. There are so many ancient techniques of breathing and different tools. There's books written specifically on, here's one right here. I'm gonna show you this one. Success and Spirit. Oh, I'm blocked out here. I bring it back. Anyhow.
You gotta put it in the camera.
In the camera, if I put it right up here, Success and Spirit. It's a little blurry, but there's ancient techniques just for raising the spirit and achieving success through the breath. So, yeah, hopefully we feel in alignment, and I'm going to pass the torch over to Yelena for some wisdom.
Thank you so much, Elaine. Elaine is a master that has a lot of experience in changing your state with breathing techniques and exercises. And as a lot of ancient practices would state that abundance is a frequency. Abundance is the way we are modifying our state, and it's helping us with different tools. And this is one of the tools that people used. In a lot of ancient tribes, if we're talking about Mesopotamia, Babylon, Egypt, the ancient knowledge was that if you are having troubles with abundance, is because you are lacking certain blessings or certain frequencies. And these blessings, according to the ancients, the gods were the one that would share these blessings with us. And so a lot of ancient rituals and ceremonies are dedicated to this communication and reciprocity with the spirits in order for them to receive the abundance. For example, in my travels to Peru and learning from the shamans, they believed that if you, everything is around is the law of Aini. Law of Aini is the law of reciprocity or the law of karma. But it's a little bit more than that, because in karma, it's very sequential where you get, based on what you're given. And we all have seen in life cases where people are given, but yet they have no return. And so it's interesting that Peruvians and the Incas, that is their ancestry, their knowledge was based on the balance between giving and receiving. It was never about constantly giving and giving and giving, which is very interesting because in our society, we are all taught since childhood to be giving. And with the expectation of receiving is always like, okay, let you receive what you want, let you receive twice what you want. And with ancient Incas, their philosophy was, if you give something, let you receive 1,000 times more. So where in our Western societies, they say, oh, let it be trifold. Trifold usually is the maximum of what is communicated. So I'll let you get more than you want. And the Incas, they were like, no. If I'm giving you something, I'm getting 1,000 times more. So their understanding of their importance and the value of what you are giving and what you're supposed to be receiving was quite higher compared to our modern world. And I find it interesting. And so they used different techniques to supplement these frequencies. For example, the color therapy was one of the ways to introduce and compensate the lack of these frequencies. For example, the green color was the color used to supplement this frequency. And hence the spiritual stones were used and crystals were used to supplement the lack of these frequencies, or let's say make sure that these frequencies are stable. For example, if the green color was the color people would dress in order for them to attract abundance or be stable in that abundant environment, the emerald green color stones, gemstones, were used for people to carry on them, and this is how the this whole industry actually of jewelry was born, because originally jewelries were always ceremonial and ritual. It was always about the signs. It was always worn by the priests in their breastplates, in Egypt, in Babylon, Incas. They all would have special jewelries, but they all had a meaning. It wasn't jewelry just for the sake of a beauty. It was for the sake of carrying these frequencies around them. And so green colors, green stones were used to supplement. In Asia, they believed that red color was the color of abundance. And let's say in China, they would advise for you to have a red wallet. And that was red wallet because back then people carried money. And nowadays people are carrying credit cards, right? But then the energy of the money was supposed to be carried in these red wallets. So this is one of the ways in our modern world we can supplement and enhance these frequencies of abundance. Another technique that was used by Asians and very popular in China, that was putting a red ribbon and tying it up in when you go into your sink, there is a pipe in the sink, and tying red ribbon in all of your sinks. So this is another ways they've done it. Elaine, I have you. Okay, so this is another ways what they've done, because they were considering the plumbing system in the home was a reflection of your finances. So when people had issues with plumbing, where they had leakage of plumbing, let's say problems with drainage, with toilets, that was a sign that your abundance is not okay, that you are lacking these printers, that there is like energetic leakage that you need to take care of. And so in modern days, number one rule would be, to make sure and check that your bathrooms are not leaking and that you do not have any running water in your household, because that would be a sign that that you are having that where the money doesn't stay, when the money goes like down the drain, is that the running toilets and stuff like that. And that is why they would use this red ribbon that they would tie in those bathrooms, in the sinks, under the sink, for it to kind of bring attention and fix the ailment. So a lot of different cultures had different remedies. There are certain food and there's certain nutrition that was used in order for people to supplement it as well. For example, in Middle East, they would use dates, and they would use cashew nuts. And the wise man would say that if you are eating dates and the cashews, you are attracting the worry-free life. So, that you are attracting abundance. And so some people would even put little cashews in their wallets back in the days. There was a lack of this. It wasn't as easily available. It's seasonal, right? And it's also not available for a lot of different cultures. So every culture geographically would have their own different remedies. And next level of the work that these wise people would do with abundance would be the work with personal and mental states. And this is where we're coming to understanding that every scientist and every psychologist telling us, right, our relationship with money, we actually get these programs from our parents. And so the curse of that would be that if your parents did not have money, most likely that you will not have access to that abundance, or that it will be much harder for you to break through that programming. And that is why we're here today talking about this. And another interesting way of dealing with that is identifying negative programming. I have the whole questionnaire with, if you want, I would be happy to mail it out, as well as I have Abundance 101, a little brochure that I'll be happy to work to send it out. It's a little workbook where you're able to go through each and every one of those statements and to see which one resonates with you, because that would be the red flag for you. And as long as you have these certain feelings inside of you, you are going to experience the lack. For example, one of the most common programs of what is a program? Program is a negative belief. Program is the way we are taught. And it was told by the Hitler, by the way. He was saying, if you repeat lie 7 times, it becomes the truth. And so the moral of that statement is, if something is repeated multiple times, it becomes our alpha and omega. It is becoming our programming. It's becoming part of your thought patterns. It's becoming part of your world. And so that is why we are supposed to be super conscious about that people we hang out with, movies that we are watching. So, for example, the one of the most common blogs would be regrets. And it's very common, and if you hear yourself having these thoughts, this is where you're supposed to interrupt this thought pattern, right, to reprogram yourself. So you have to eliminate regrets completely, because regrets pull you into the past. Every time, like, oh, I wish I would have buy that house. Oh, I wish I would have buy that. Oh, I wish I would have married that person. Oh, I wish I haven't divorced. Any form of regret should be a red flag for you, and that should be something traced in your thought patterns, and you have to cancel and interrupt that thought pattern, because that energy will keep draining you in the past. Next is the most common block that we're dealing with is resentment. Resentment is towards people that have abundance. Resentment towards successful people. And it's resentment mixed with envy. A lot of people, the moment they see someone successful and abundant, they'll be like, well, maybe we are not rich, but we are honest. And so this subconscious programming that wealthy or successful people, that they're dishonest, that they are not good people in general, which one has nothing to do with another one. We know a lot of successful people that are honest, and we a lot of not successful people that are not honest, right? So there is really no correlation between the wealth and integrity of the people. We know a lot of people with no income have a lot of low integrities. So one has nothing to do with another one, yet these are so intervened programs that we don't even notice how it slips the mind. It's propaganda by the TV about all these wealthy people that are evil and they're trying to make money by hurting others, which does happen. I'm not saying it's not true. It is happening, and it is interesting to watch these stories. But the sad reality is, when people watch these stories, it's becoming part of their programming. And it is very hard for us to break through that cycle if we are part of this energy and we are watching that on the screen. And the third most common programming is pity towards yourself. It's feeling sorry for yourself and always finding an excuses. Oh, poor me. Oh, I couldn't do it. And on one hand, we want to be empathic and we want to be understanding and we want to be supportive. But there is a difference between being supportive of yourself and between feeling this constant sorry, because the energy of poor me creates a victim out of us. And the energy of victimhood is very, very low. If you have heard the work of David Hawkins, he is a legend in the metaphysical world. He was one of my teachers. He passed away right now. He lived in Arizona. And he's known for the map of consciousness. So if this is something you want to Google, definitely check out the Map of Consciousness by David Hawkins, where he describes the frequencies, and he takes Jesus Christ as the consciousness of 1,000, and he starts where the death is at the 0. And he breaks down this whole society and this whole hidden determinants of human behavior by this map of consciousness. And the finding after 250,000 studies, which would make it a science. In general, they were saying, he was, by the way, a psychiatrist, and actually he was from New York originally, and then he moved to Arizona. And what the findings were is, the higher your level of consciousness, the higher your level of happiness and the higher level of abundance. And if you think about it, think about in your life the percentage. How happy are you? Are you happy 25% of the times, 50% of the times, 75% of the times, or 100? And so he found this correlation between the level of consciousness, the level of happiness. So the higher your frequency, the more happy you are. The lower your frequency, the less happy you are. And then he talks about the ability to manifest. The higher your frequency, the easier manifestations are done, which is also very interesting for us to note. And so in our lives, we all manifested things, except some things we've noticed, and when we don't pay attention to them, or they don't matter, they manifest faster. For example, my daughter calls me and says, oh my God, can you believe it? I always wanted to go to this concert, and my friend just called me, and out of random, he goes, hey, do you want to go? I have tickets tonight. And she's like, I wanted to see it. And I said, well, great, you manifested these tickets. She goes, yeah, but like, how come I'm so easily manifesting all the concert tickets and invitations, and I'm not able to manifest things that I really want? And I was like, well, what do you think about it? She goes, well, because I'm more detached from the outcome. then these things, I just want it, I wish it, but I'm not attached to it. Because then but if she wants and focuses on things that she really wants, then a lot of negative programming coming up, like, am I good enough? Am I worth it? Do I deserve it? Am I really going to get it? So the internal self-sabotage kicks in, and we all have this, and that self-sabotage is stopping us from these manifestations. And so most of the mainstream would always tell us, like, you have to constantly, if you want something, like, constantly think about it, and you have to surround yourself with it. But I'll tell you this, if things that we want in our life, if they create a resentment within us, or they make us feel bad, like, let's say you really, really want that raise that you're not getting, or you really, really want that new job and you're not getting. So every time you think about it, for a second of a hope, the next emotion that we are feeling and that is coming up is actually resentment towards people that have it, resentment towards yourself, anger with yourself even. Like, how come I couldn't get it, right? And so if you have your desire comes up with negative thought, that means the time for time out. That means you really need to detach from that and step back and not think about it, because by the time you bring that energy, the negative frequency into your life, then it's more harder for you to counteract this negative frequency. And so this is another very important thing for us to pay attention to. Our desires, do they come with joy? Do they uplift us and inspire us? Then yes, if when you want something and then only you have this positive daydreaming state, that keep doing that. But if it's not, then this is something for you to stop thinking and to stop, just focus your shift on something that is not, does not bring that much resentment. The next, we're coming back to the principle of Aini, the one the Peruvians calling principle of Aini. And the whole principle is, in order for you to get something, you got to do something. And so society has a lot of understanding that it's really cool to get something for nothing. And this is like the fashion for freebies, the fashion for trends for us, just get invited somewhere and get something, like where you just giveaways, right? This whole idea of giveaways. And it's a pretty cool idea, except I'll tell you, nothing is ever really for free. You are always going to pay, and you're going to pay in the ways that you don't know. And that is how the world of Aini works. So if universe is giving you something, it will want something back from you. Your time, your energy, your health. And was very interesting. One of the interesting movies. It was like fairy tale, but it kind of shows another level of what you are desiring for. Where this picture of this king, and he wanted to defeat his enemy. And so he has this, like a magician coming up, and he goes, what do you want? And he goes, I want the head of this person. And the next second, what happens, because the magician made like his words magical, where he was able to get everything he wanted for that time frame. And in the second, his head switches. He said, I want the head of that enemy. And then he becomes the enemy. He will have that head. And so this is one of those examples. Be careful what you wish for. A lot of people wish for, I'm wishing for $1 million. And the next thing you know, some relative is dying, or someone is dying very dear and near to you. And the person is getting the life insurance for that $1 million. And this is just little examples of that. Nothing is ever for free. And that is why Peruvians, they had this ceremony. It's called the dispatcher ceremony. This is a ceremony of an offering. So this is how they solved this whole Aini issue. So they believed also, by the way, when we lose things, when we get robbed, this is also one of the things that were taken, when things are taken from us by force. This is our way of paying for getting things for free. Very interesting. And so energetically, your goal would always to have this balance. So what they did, they used to do those dispatcher ceremonies, and this is what it looks like. So, and they would do it traditionally when we're asking for something, like let's say you're asking for a marriage, you're asking for a baby, you're asking for a new job, or you're trying to start a new project, you're working with new business concept and ideas. So they would go to their medicine man, to their shaman, which usually was spiritual leader, right, the counselor of some sort. And so they would go to the shaman. They're like, hey, I'm doing this. And the shaman would perform this dispatcher ceremony. And dispatcher ceremony was where they collect intent from a person. And then it's a quite lengthy process. It takes several hours for them to create this beautiful mandala-like spiritual, like a sacred geometry procedure. So where the page ends, so the person saying, yeah, I want a baby. And let's say they put together this whole lengthy process with special prayers of gratitude to the universe, because their God they were surrounded by nature, right? So their understanding, their cosmology, their understanding of God was the spirits around them. And so their God was the spirits of the mountains. They would call them apuses. And their version of higher energies were the condor. Condor, because he was the highest flying bird. So the condor was representation of a spirit. This great spirit was for us, would be closest understanding is the God, right? The highest entity above. And so the spirit was also from above. And the spirit of that condor would be a sign of blessing, or that spirit manifesting into our lives. And so they would connect through prayers, and they would create these beautiful mandalas with all kind of gifts. They would include in there, they would like put corn and rice and wheat and a lot of abundance symbols, since we are looking for an abundance, and you gotta have these frequencies of abundance, which was wheat, corn, rice, was all frequencies of abundance. And then they was like, hey, you want to make sure your life is sweet, and they would add all kind of sweets into this created mandala that was wrapped in the white beautiful paper. That was then they put a ribbon, and then it was burned. It was despacho, literally means a message to the gods, an offering. And so they would go and they would burn that offering, called despacho ceremony, and then they would watch the spirit rising on this, and they would do the reading, like, okay, how fast, how soon was this accepted by God, or do we need to do anything else? So what they did, they offered first an offering, and then they asked for things. And so the whole idea was, before you ask for something, make sure you find something to give. And then their culture was based on having those altars where they would offer to the gods, the spirits in the universe. They would offer things first, so things will not be taken from them by force. So they would not be taken by any other force. So I remember several years ago, it was like more than like 10 years ago at this point, actually exactly 10 years ago. So my daughter was 16 and she got her car. And I was, as a mother, I was so freaking out about her driving and right safety issue. And so I called my shaman. I was like, listen, I want to do the dispatcher ceremony. I want to order it. Now, my mom does those ceremonies. I mean, 10 years later, we've learned it. But my first experience, I want to share you. So I was calling the shamans. I was freaking out. I was like, listen, my daughter is driving. What do I do? He goes, listen, you just need to get a dispatcher for her. I get a dispatcher ceremony, he sends me normally, you're not present during the ceremony, so they take the pictures of you, your name, your intents, and then they send you a photo of this mandala that they've created, that is, and then they show like how it's burned. And so, guys, like a week later, my daughter gets in a car accident. In her BMW, and the car is totaled. The car is totaled. I'm so mad. I'm furious. I'm calling my shaman and I'm going, hey, I just asked for dispatcher for my daughter to keep her safe and protected. And we get in a car accident. I was like, that dispatcher did not work. He goes, wait a minute. He goes, what happened? I was like, well, she's in a car accident. Okay, so is she okay? I was like, oh yes, she's okay. Nothing happened, not a scratch on her. But the car was, it's like the way it was like sideways, the way it happened. He goes, wait a minute, did you get dispatcher for your car or for your daughter? And I was like, oh, for my daughter. He goes, is your daughter okay? Yes. He goes, that means dispatcher worked. And he goes, and by the way, now the protective energies that were used for this are finished. And so now I said, he's like, if you have to get another dispatcher for, obviously, for next round. And so this is another understanding. In our world, we don't have an understanding that things we do, everything has a time frame. Everything has expiration date. Just because you've done something, let's say you've given your time and you've given for your efforts and whatnot, it worked, but it's not going to work forever. And so this is a very important understanding that these things that we do, these breathing exercises and frequencies and things that we do to supplement these energies that we are lacking, they all have time frame. Nothing is forever. It's all going to work for a certain time frame, and then you have to repeat the process and you have to reinforce it. It's the same, like you can't have breakfast one time, right? You're going to be hungry the next morning. You can't have one shower. You're going to need to shower again. The same thing is the same principle, guys, with the energy work. And that is why practices like breathing exercises, the Kundalini yoga, in all of these different techniques and modalities that are used to supplement these energies of abundance, as since this is what we're talking about, they are needed to be performed on a regular basis. How do you know when it's working? When you get what you want. How do you know when it's not working and how long you need to do it? I always tell people you do it until you get what you want, because everybody has a different deficiencies. Somebody has maybe 25% deficiency. Somebody has 50% deficiencies, right? So you don't really know, well, unless you take a session and then you have to find out. Let's say you talk to the shaman, like, okay, what I need to do, it's different. But in general, we're talking in a very general field. You never know what is this, like what is your minus in these areas. And by the way, ancient, they called it healing. Their understanding of abundance was like, we need to heal ourselves to abundance. We need to heal ourselves from that. In our modern world, we normally think, people will be like, well, come to these all activities. For example, we do those spiritual retreats, right? I do spiritual trips to Peru, and where we work with my shaman and we work with ayahuasca. And they will be like, well, how long is going to last? Well, will it help me? Well, definitely, yes. How long is going to last you? Depends how fast you're going to use that energy. If you're going to have accidents happen to you, or that energy that is created, right? It's creating this buffer around you. But that buffer is not forever, and it's going to be used up, because if you're going to have a lot of, let's say, negative energies coming your way, situations, and that buffer is going to be protecting you from that. At some point, that protection is going to wear out. And so you have to do that again. Another ways of working with it is the plant medicine. And so ayahuasca is one of the ways ancients used ayahuasca. Ancient Incas, they believed if you participate and you do ingest this ayahuasca, it's a shamanic brew, shamanic tea, you could say, in the ceremony. And so that ayahuasca becomes part of your body frequencies. It is able to heal that needs healing. And as well as San Pedro plant medicine is another way that ancient used that to heal these different deficiencies and different frequencies. Because a lot of time people will be like, I said, come to Peru, like, oh, no, I'm okay. I don't need to heal, because a lot of now people think that they have to be like mentally unstable to come and join these retreats, and you're like, well, not really, because these energies and frequencies, they help you maintain, first of all, what you already have, build more and attract more, because it elevates your frequency. And remember, the higher your frequency, the easier you attract, the more happy you are. And the more happy you are, the easier you are attracting the frequencies of abundance. And so you don't need to wait for things to happen bad, so you would actually change your lifestyle and start thinking and accumulating these different modalities, techniques, and ways to reconnect with the spirit. One of the interesting situations I had happen in my life 20 years ago, when I was just starting and I was a young girl, and I come to this amazing workshop in Arizona, and we, for the first time, I witnessed channeling. And we have this medium sitting in this middle of the room, Master Kirel, and I was like, oh my God, you could actually talk to him. He's like, yeah, he'll be taking questions. And I didn't have a question, but I went to get in the line because there was a line. And so then the first person goes in the line and says, well, hello, Master Kirel. My son had cancer. And I was watching, and it was scary for a parent, to be there, and it's like, yes, and we're working, and it was like it was a child, and I was like, oh wow, this was so sad. And so Master Kirill, was like, hey, let's do this healing session, send energies to your son. And so they just do this whole group healing session, stuff like that. The mother's crying, weeping, tears. It was really intense, especially you as a parent, and I was just young mother myself. It's tragic when you hear these things. So the next person comes in, young couple, beautiful couple. Her child passed away when she was 10 months. And I'm standing there like, oh my God, I'm the same. And he's telling her, he goes, listen, we know the hole you have in your heart cannot be filled, but this child is an angel, is part of the God right now. And so he gives her the message from the child. The child is saying, I'm okay, Mom, I came here to give you the lesson. You need to, whatever, turn your life around, and so have more spiritual focus. So like every story